I might have a different answer tomorrow if I thought through that question longer, but I think just using the honest answer is just being curious and using AI in ways that do three important things that all must happen together. One is to save the business owner time, and these are not in order, these are all equal. One
Yeah.
is to save the business owner time. Two is to earn the business owner more money through bookings or through ancillary revenue, right? And three, which is most important, is to make the guest experience better so they are happier when they stay at you. And all three of those things can be done with AI if you put thought into how you're going to use it.
Today on Wisdom Journey podcast, I'm sitting down with someone who's not theorizing about AI. He's deploying it in the feed every single day. Brian Sior is the founder and CEO of Insider Pex and Modern Campground, two companies at the front lines of AI-driven marketing, automation, and operations for hospitality business. He builds practical AI systems, voice AI agents that answers calls without annoying customers, websites that surface what people really want, structured data that ranks without relying on old SEO tricks, and automation flows that save real money, not just time. Across nearly 2 decades, Brian has worked with hundreds of business owners, replacing guesswork with systems and hype with actual results. This episode is going to be blunt, practical, and immediately useful, the kind you can apply on Monday morning. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate it. And you did a great job of pronouncing my name. Back when I was in high school, they used to call me Cereal when they were making fun of me and
Siri.
all kinds of stuff when I was bullied. So you did a great job.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, while I was reading your intro, I'm curious, for founders listening right now, what is the real estate in AI and automation for founders?
I think it depends entirely on what business you're in right now, is the answer to your question. And what I mean by that is you're seeing AI at a point in its evolution where you can use it as many people see it as a chatbot or to generate images or now to generate video with Google Gemini. And you are still like, we're in this transition period between where if you know how to prompt it correctly in AI as a business owner, then you can get accounting advice, you can get legal advice, you can get marketing advice, you can generate your graphics for social media. I've created commercials with it for my business using Google's new VO 3.1. But we're in this transition period now between that type of content that's really been available for 2.5 years, if you prompt on ChatGPT correctly, and the next evolution of it, which is a term you've probably heard all over the internet, which is AI agents.
Yeah.
And what these will be is the ability for you to connect these AIs into your actual tools of your business so that they can operate your CRM, or they can operate your social media, or they can operate Microsoft Excel or Word. And that's going to be the real game changer for all the business owners out there, is the ability to not just go to ChatGPT and ask a question and get an answer and then figure out what to do with it. It's having AI be able to proactively do whatever task you want, just like a human being would.
You always say you call BS when tactics are dead. Which tactics are officially dead right now?
Which tactics are officially dead right now?
Yeah.
I think I would hesitate to say that anything is ever officially dead. And the reason that I say that is, let's go out of AI for a second and think of the printed letter that you still, some people send via regular postal mail service, right?
Yeah.
Because you heard many people 10, 15 years ago say sending a letter was dead. You heard people say when TikTok came out that Facebook was dead. There's a danger in overlooking the things that are not working as well as they have in the past, depending on who your type of person is that you're trying to reach. In other words, if you're trying to reach older people who still check their mail every single day, or if you're trying to reach an audience of younger people who have never gotten a letter in the mail in the last 15 years, that postcard all of a sudden becomes more powerful than it was when everyone was getting a postcard 15 times a day. Everybody was doing their marketing through that. So I don't think that there's any tactic that's dead. I think there are ways that you can upskill yourself and learn new technologies to always be more alive, to play on your pun, right? To figure out ways that you can be the best at what you can be. As soon as you label something as dead, I think you fall into a trap of it's every business for themselves. What works for you is what works differently for somebody else is what works differently for somebody else. So instead of labeling something dead or alive, I think you should figure out what works specifically for your business with AI and deploy that.
Oh, I really, really love that response. It puts things, a lot of things in perspective rather than just following the hype. Because as you might have noticed with the AI and most of the internet marketing things online, it goes with a lot of hype, right? I mean, some of the technology, I mean, they work, the good discovery. People just overhype it. Like, this is the end of creators. This is the end of designers, and I'm like, really? I mean, it's a great tool, but nah.
It's not the end of creators and designers. What it is the end of is the creators and designers who could never be creative. And what I mean by that is there's a difference, right? So if you are a really, really good creator who, when you get a project, you can go back and forth with a client who has no idea what they want. They come to you and they say, I need advertising for social media, or I need a billboard, or I need a website. And
Yeah,
you can say, you can go look at their business and say, this is what's in my head. I see this beautiful website with a hero banner image that is cut left to right and showcases images of your property over here, and beautiful written words that convert. If you can do that, you're fine for at least a while. Like eventually it's going to replace me and
yeah.
everybody else, right? I'm the easiest to replace because I'm the guy who just makes the decisions at the top. That's already done. But the creative nature of you, if you can really be that creative person who can strategize, you're fine for a long time. The problem is that and we're just talking about marketing now for a second,
Yeah.
right? The problem is we have so many people who call themselves marketers who just use Canva templates and can't really be creative. Those are the people that are in danger.
What do you think entrepreneurs misunderstand the most about using AI in business?
What do you think entrepreneurs misunderstand the most about using AI in business? That it's a choice of wins and losses, period. Black and white, period. I think is where my answer would go with that. Like you either use AI or you don't use AI. And I think when I talk to entrepreneurs, and from my side, it's mostly campsite owners and operators, glamping owners and operators. When I talk to them and hear what they struggle with AI, it's understanding it. It's how do I begin to comprehend what I do with this to actually make it worth my time to invest it in my business. We have AI chatbots. We have phone agents that will answer your phone calls for you. But to a business owner, whether it's those two things or using ChatGPT to generate marketing copy or whatever it may be, all the things that we talked about with creativity, right?
Yeah.
It's a question of how do I, as a business owner, actually use this in a way that really saves me time? Because if I don't know how to use ChatGPT, I'll spend more time going back and forth with it and getting frustrated with it than I will actually getting a good output. So the foundational aspect of you have to really sit down, and not for a long time, but really sit down and understand how to talk to AI. And once you understand that, it unlocks the keys to the kingdom for you. An example that we give for business owners is if you hire a new employee, and let's say you own a hotel, you hire a new employee and you say, go clean the hotel. Well, they could mop the lobby, they could clean the bathrooms, they could go start cleaning some of the rooms, and maybe that's what you want, and maybe it's not what you wanted. But if instead you take that employee and you say, go clean the lobby and do it this exact way, you give it more context and information, the employee, they will do
Yeah.
a better job and they will give you the results that you want. It's the same way with AI. If you can learn to talk to it like a human and understand, the more information that you give it, the better the results you'll get, then you can do anything with it. So I think that's the biggest misconception from entrepreneurs is that it fails because they've tried it once and they haven't actually learned the foundational aspects of how to use it.
I mean, they're trying it, not knowing what they're doing, and so it doesn't work out. They're like, "Oh, this thing doesn't work."
Right,
Instead of
which is
when you,
all of us, which was me when I first started using it. I just happen to be a geek with no life who spends way more time with it than I should.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're talking about AI and businesses. What does an AI first business, you know, actually look like day to day?
I think an AI first business is one where the business owner and the employees are always curious. And what I mean by that is AI is changing at the most rapid pace that we've ever seen technology change in the history of anything. So if you go back and look at the invention of the personal computer in the 1980s or the 1990s, you had a choice. You could say, I'm all on board with computers. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to put it in my office or my house, and I'm going to use that thing to do everything I possibly can. Then you had the people in the middle, which were I will only use a computer if my boss requires me to do it. Or you can show me a use case, or my kids can play games on it, or there has to be a really good reason. And then you had everybody else who was like, no, there's no way I'm touching a computer. I do things the way I do things, and that's the way it works.
Yeah.
If you made the wrong decision with that, you had 10 or 15 years where you could say, all right, I guess computers have stuck around now. Now I can learn the computer. It was the same thing with iPhones when they were introduced. Everybody had their BlackBerry that they wanted to type on the keyboard with still, right? And so you either adopted the App Store and lots of people made millions of dollars making apps, or you said, well, I'll do it if I have to, or you said, no way. Now everybody's using apps. But you still had time to pivot. With AI, it is moving so fast that you don't have that time, and it's just getting started on an exponential curve. I always do this wrong because I'm mirrored on my laptop, or my screen, but on an exponential curve, we're like right here, and it's going to go like that very, very quickly. And so I think the answer to your question is just be curious. Think about ways that at your business you can use AI to make yourself more efficient, to learn new things, to take away some of the mundane tasks that you and your employees have to do so that you can provide better service to the clients, to the guests of your hotel, to the guests of your campground, whatever that may be. Don't think of it like replacing people. It's not. It's making you more efficient with the team you already have to do all the things you want to do and let AI handle the things you need to do in the background. But just be curious.
Yeah, can you break down the AI first customer journey from discovery to conversion to support? What would that look like?
The AI first customer journey. I think in a world, all right, let's take my idea world, right? Where I think this is going and where we'll like if I had AI integrated the way I think it will be integrated in a few years, and this is already to a large extent possible right now, but it will be easier to build. I think the AI first customer journey starts with, let's use a campground for an example, or a hotel is the same way. You book a hotel room. More people understand that than they do camping, right? You book a hotel room, and the AI knows everything about you from your profile of either staying at that hotel before, or maybe they send you a survey that asks you a few questions. What do you want to do when you come to the city? What are some of your interests? Are you traveling with kids or pets, et cetera, et cetera? And then using that information, it actually goes out and, in a not creepy way, looks at your social media profiles that are all public. It looks at what you're posting and what you're talking about, not because it wants to spy on you, but because it wants to personalize your experience at that hotel or campground in the most amazing way it can, so that if it can discover what brand of soda that you like, or what type of chips that you love to consume, or your favorite cookies, or the best dog bed that you like for your, what kind of dog you have, a large or small dog, then all of a sudden when you get to that hotel, you have the brand of coffee you like, you have the chips you like, you have a beer you like, you have a dog bed that fits your dog. All kinds of things are possible in that world, right? And that's a much better guest experience for you. So using AI to initially personalize the guest arrival and the stay and the post-departure is the number one thing, right? Just understanding your guest better. 2 is allowing them to get support whenever they need it. So right now it's sort of easy at a hotel because they're staffing their front desk 24/7. But if you have a chatbot or a phone agent that you can call anytime without waiting on hold, and that AI knows everything about the local area, everything about the hotel, and can answer every single question that you would ever need answered, including changing or modifying your reservation, adding people to it, canceling, rebooking, whatever else, then at that point, your front desk customer service representative can do something better with their time than standing at the desk all night, right?
Yeah.
And so then, but the customer can get their answers in seconds instead of trying to figure out, how do I get help before and during my stay? So those are 2 things with AI. post departure. Like, I think it's a way to, answer questions, to send surveys. Answer questions is more pre-arrival, but to send custom surveys and say, hey, we're so glad you stayed with us. Not just Michael, because that's been able to be done in email for 20 years, right? But
Yeah.
what you stayed, what you look like, some of the questions you ask, some of the experiences that we know you enjoyed, asking you how the brand of chips was, because we know we put that in your room for the personalization, asking how we can make your stay better. But more importantly, not only using AI, but automating those processes. So using the chatbot, using the phone agent, but automating the pre-arrival. 7 days before you check in, you get an email or you get a text message that says, here's some information about your upcoming stay. After departure, here's some things that, we want to make sure you paid attention to. But taking the staff out of the loop, I think that's the whole, I might have a different answer tomorrow if I thought through that question longer, but I think just the honest answer is just being curious and using AI in ways that do three important things that all must happen together. One is to save the business owner time, and these are not in order. These are all equal. One
Yeah.
is to save the business owner time. Two is to earn the business owner more money through bookings or through ancillary revenue, right? And three, which is most important, is to make the guest experience better so they are happier when they stay at you. And all three of those things can be done with AI if you put thought into how you're going to use it.
Well, since we're talking about three things, if you're rebuilding a business from scratch today, what are the first three things you automate?
For building a business from scratch today, what are the first three things I automate? I think that answer is part of where we're in this transition period we talked about earlier. We talked about how we're going from ChatGPT and those answers to agents. I think you're going to see the first billion-dollar company be built with one employee in the next
Yeah.
couple years. And I think if I'm building from the ground up, I'm looking for ways that I can staff my startup company with as many agents as I can, legal, accounting, marketing, whatever, not to replace the creative people, because I'm still going to need someone like a chief marketing officer at the top who can put all the marketing together. But so that chief marketing officer doesn't need 6 people supporting them in a startup. One to
Yeah.
write the creative, one to design the images, so that the chief marketing officer can just go to AI and say, this is the campaign I want. Give me the graphics, give me the content, give me the videos, give
Yeah.
me the whatever. So I
Oh,
think that's the answer. An AI first company, if you're building from the ground up, you should look to hire AI agents now instead of employees. And that doesn't mean that they're better or worse. No one's advocating here that we want to see layoffs, but whether we are or we aren't, they're coming. It's
yeah.
it's not going to be AI replacing humans. It's going to be you with 20 agents working for you that can do the work of 20 people. And you will have the job, and the people who don't adopt the AI will not have the job.
Yeah, AI is coming for us.
It's like you use your scary voice, man. You use your scary voice. But I really want to emphasize here, right? I'm not a doomer. I think there's going to for sure be a transition period here where it gets scary for a lot of people because the governments aren't talking about this, right? I don't know if your government's talking about this, but like the United States government and the Canadian government are not talking about this at all. And that's the problem. The time where people have to, an emphasis on have to work to trade your time for a paycheck is quickly coming to an end. You
Yeah.
will still be able to work if you want to. I will want to work because I'm weird. But like you won't have to work. And that transition period between where we are now and that, to be able to allow people to still buy food and take care of their family and have a purpose, is going to be really rocky.
Hey, quick break. Before we continue, I'd love for you to join the Wisdom Journey newsletter. Every week, I share exclusive insights, tools, and behind the scenes updates to help you stay ahead in your own journey of building an online business. It's simple, practical, and built to help you grow. Sign up today for free at the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And the longer that we don't talk about it as a society, the harder it's going to be on society. But the other side of that, when we figure it out, is the two things that make everything in your life expensive: the podcast microphone you're holding up, Riverside FM, this microphone I'm using, the sign behind me that came from Turkey, everything else, right, is intelligence, so brains of people, and energy, the cost of electricity or whatever to produce the thing. Intelligence is about to go to zero, already has
Oh,
started because of ChatGPT. And when we
oh,
solve energy, everything will be cheap. And that means that you, as a person, if we can figure out a way to move forward in a society where jobs aren't required, you'll be able to have a lot more things than you do today.
where do most founders over automate and sabotage their experience?
It's very easy to fall into the trap of saying, I'm going to just automate things for the sake of automating. And there are very clear examples of that throughout history. Over here in the United States and Canada, we have a shipping company called UPS that I think is global too.
Yeah, yeah,
Or you look at FedEx or something like that. If you call UPS on the phone, there is no way you can get a hold of a human being. And I know
oh,
all the tricks, right? Like pressing 1,800 times or speaking into the thing and saying, I have an emergency, or you cannot. There are no humans available to help you. And there are many companies like this today, and there are more that are going to go down this road, right? So I think the number one danger is automating just to say I've automated something, or automating just to save payroll and fire people or lay off people. That is the absolute wrong path to take. You remember I gave you those three examples, right?
yeah,
It has to earn more for the business owner, it has to save them time, and it has to be better for the guest or the customer of that business. And if you take away better for the guest or customer of that business, then they can go anywhere because everybody's going to end up automating stuff. The question
yeah,
is are they going to automate stuff that makes it better or worse on you? One of the best examples I ever gave was when we first released our phone agents almost a year and a half ago now. I had a comment on LinkedIn from a woman who said, I never want to talk to a robot on the phone. I said, my response was, the first time that you call your cable company, and I don't know if you have the same problems over there, but we have terrible customer service at our cable companies for internet and television services. The first time that you call them on the phone and an AI answers and can fix your problem in 2 minutes instead of you being transferred 8 different times to 8 different departments, and then they still don't fix your billing issue after 2 hours, you will never want to talk to a human being again. And so if it's done right, it's better for the customer, and the customer is happier with your business.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of persons just have AI phobia, right? They don't
Yes.
really, yeah, they're like, once they just hear, no, even if, once they hear AI, they're like, no, it's terrible product, even though the stuff is quality. They're like, they just have this AI phobia that, I don't know where that's coming from. Probably they
I,
watch a
I
lot of
think
movies.
it's I think it's a couple things, right? So I think it's a lack of understanding about what AI is and what it can do that leads to that fear. But I also think it's everything that you're hearing in the news today about it's going to cause job layoffs and firings, and it's going to replace people. And that naturally makes people scared. I'm scared in my business and I'm addicted to AI. Like, I can't tell you what's going to happen the next 2 years with my business, and we're all in on AI. So the uncertainty out there, I think, is what makes people have a phobia or be afraid of AI more than anything. But they think they can ignore it and it will just go away. And that's not where, like, I could stop doing everything I am doing with AI right now. Tomorrow, Microsoft could do the same thing, but Google would still go ahead. The United States could stop it tomorrow, but China would still go ahead. There's
Yeah,
no stopping where we're going here. And so the best thing you can do is to have a healthy dose of, like, I'm not telling you to not be afraid. Be a little bit afraid. Just like you would if you're hiking on the side of a cliff, and seeing like a really good view at the top of a mountain. You're a little bit afraid when you're walking along the side of that cliff, right? But you're
yeah,
also exhilarated and happy because at the top you're going to see this most amazing view that you've ever seen in your life. So
yeah,
be a little bit scared, but don't let that stop you from moving forward.
yeah. Oh, one of the things you do is you work with operators who need results, not theory, right? What data actually matters?
What data actually matters?
Yeah, you work with operators who need results, not theory.
I think the data that actually matters is different for every single business. And I know I've said that quite a bit throughout this podcast, but I really do mean that. And I think that AI and how fast it moves unlocks the ability for you to have things that are different answers than other businesses. Before you had to buy like Microsoft Word out of the box, for example, right? And Microsoft Word, you took what features it had and you liked it or you didn't use it. There was only two choices. You liked it and you
Yeah.
used it, or you hated it and you didn't use it. There was really no middle ground where you sent an email to Microsoft and you're like, I'd really love Microsoft Word to do this. And someone emailed you back and said, that's a great idea. We'll put it in Microsoft Word tomorrow. That doesn't
Yeah.
work, right? But you can do that with AI. And so I think that that's the most critical piece as you look at it from a business perspective is what can I do with AI that is unique and special to me that unlocks something that I've been struggling with at my business for so long that will allow me to solve that problem. Does that sort of answer your question or?
Yeah. Yeah. It does answer. Oh, I mean, earlier on you gave us the framework of what to automate, right? I'm just curious, right? Is there another framework for deciding whether something should be automated or not?
I think the best answer to that is, can you provide a better experience? I'll go back to my three things again, right?
Yeah.
That's the test. And I know I'm looping. I'm not intentionally trying to repeat, but if you use those three things, so look at something that you're potentially considering automating. Let's say phone customer service, since we're just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Do I already have a really good team that answers the phone? Probably. Okay. Have I trained them well? Probably. Is there a bunch of people waiting on hold to get a hold of me because I don't have enough staff on my, or enough employees answering the phone? Yes or no, right? Uh, what is the experience when those people call me on the phone? Are they getting all of their questions answered? Do they have to be transferred from department or department? How long are they waiting on hold and getting frustrated? Am I solving their problems? So work through the questions of, is it already good or bad? If it's already good, is it great? And if it's already great, is there some way for AI to make it better? And that doesn't mean reducing payroll. That's one thing, right? But
Yeah.
can it be better for the clients that I'm serving and do all three things that we talked about earlier? And that's your golden rule whenever you're looking to automate anything, phone, chat, social media, whatever else. There's so much value. We talked about creativity earlier, right? Let's look at social
Yeah.
media and graphics. There is so much value in hiring an amazing, brilliant human being to do social media. If you find the right person, they are talented, they are creative, they are a pleasure to work with every day. They will come up with ideas that will take your business to new heights. It's just, there's no AI in the world that will ever, ever, ever replace that kind of person. I don't care. Like there won't be, right? Even if
Yeah.
you put them in a robot, like that back and forth with that person is priceless. But there is something to be said for if you have an AI that is created well, like that is put together in such a way that it can replace 60% of the work that person does to create the graphics, to write the content, to discover what hashtags they need, to figure out what time to post, to figure out what network to post on, to figure out what time of day you should post and what day you should post, to write it to your audience. If there are ways that AI can do that in such a way that is literally impossible for that human being to do, because they only have 40 hours of work a week or whatever you're giving them, then that by definition can make your social media marketing better because there's a finite cap on how much that wonderful creative person can work for you every week.
Yeah.
So use that as your Bible, right? Say, is there a way that I can use AI to make that better? Not to get rid of the wonderful creative person that you have, but to allow them to stop doing the writing, the graphic design, the hashtag research, the time of day, so that they can make even more beautiful content with the 40 hours that they have.
What's an AI tool or process that is outperforming expectations?
An AI or tool that is outperforming expectations?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Think I would answer, I'm gonna cop out and say a big one. I'm gonna say Google Gemini. And the reason I say that is because their 3.0 model was just released last week. And if you are a geek like me and follow some of the ways that we measure how intelligent AI is in the industry through benchmarks, and what a benchmark is basically a test that all the models take. How smart are you in science? And there's one for math, and there's one for operating like a vending machine, and there's one for creative writing, and there's one for science, and there's one for on and on and on, right? Google Gemini just basically completely destroyed ChatGPT in almost every one of those benchmarks with Gemini 3.0. And you can go to it and not only generate text in one place, but you can generate video, you can generate images, you can do deep research of content, you can use it as a learning partner to learn new skills. So the ability to have all of that stuff in one centralized location versus going previously, you had to, I would use a Midjourney or something like that to generate my images, and I would use ChatGPT to generate my text, and I would use something else to do my videos and something else to do my. So the more that we see that condensed into one tool like Gemini, and it doesn't have nearly everything yet, but it's got a lot more stuff now than it did before, and it does it very, very well. I think that's probably one of the most underrated tools out there right now, and especially because it comes free if you have a Google Workspace subscription.
Yeah. What are the simplest wins someone can implement this week?
The simplest win somebody can implement this week, I think, going to ChatGPT or Gemini and asking that question. And what I mean by that seriously is like there's this phobia almost that you mentioned, right? How do I use AI? What do I do with it? I'm so scared of it. I don't know how it benefits me. All those questions that are running through your head, whether they're scared questions or they're uncertain questions or they're I don't know where to start questions, can all be answered by AI. So the one quick win that you can do this week is whatever that question is that's in your head that's causing you to have the uncertainty or the fear is to go to AI and say, I'm a business owner. I'm scared of AI. I don't know how to use AI. Help me understand how to use AI and let AI answer your question. And that's the quickest win to move you forward, to get you
Oh,
unstuck.
oh, thank you so much for that. What's one piece of advice you want to leave with listeners?
I'm going to go back and say the curious thing. That really is like for me at my company, we continue to hire amazing people. Like we're not stopping hiring people because of AI,
Yeah,
but we are changing who we're looking at to hire. We're looking to hire, there's a buzzword called generalists, right? And these are people that know how to critical think and they can teach themselves new skills if given the opportunity. I
yeah,
don't know what your educational system looks like, but in the United States, when we were growing up, I was born in America and I live in Canada now. In both countries, like you were really taught how to obey, if that makes sense. Like school
yeah,
was created to get you, in the case of America, out of the farm and into the factory. And so you did things a specific way. You sat in rows in class, you raised your hand to speak, you listened to what the teacher said, and you did everything exactly the way that you were told. And that created a wonderful society of people who could get a very specific skill, accounting, legal, even more narrower than that, right? Social media marketing versus podcast marketing versus video marketing.
yeah,
And many of those people would come out of college and they would stop learning, other than a few little tips and tricks that they would learn from their peers, but they would quit learning because they were never taught how to learn. If you go back, and it's really interesting for me, at least for history buffs out there, if you go back and look at ancient Rome and you look at how their education system worked, there was two types of education in Rome. There was education for the slaves and there was education for the free people. If you were a slave in Rome, you were taught how to do a specific skill. You were taught how to be a welder. You were taught how to mine. You were taught how to, carry people's goods around. You were taught how to be a servant. That's how education worked. If you were a free person, Rome had no idea what you were going to do with your life or what would be beneficial to Roman society once you became an adult in 18 years or 20 years or whatever else, right? So if you were a free person in Rome, they focused on teaching you how to teach yourself so that one day the hope was you maybe chose to be a blacksmith or a bread maker and you didn't learn how to blacksmith in school, but you could go get an apprenticeship if you decided to do that and teach yourself how to become a blacksmith. Everything that you
yeah,
know about Western education, or we know about Western education, and again, I don't want to speak for your country, right? But for ours, is that they taught you a skill. They taught you like a Roman slave. That sounds horrible, but it's true, right? I'm not saying that they were trying to get us into slavery, but like that they taught us that. And so many people who come out of school don't know how to be curious, don't know how to do critical thinking, don't know how to teach themselves a new skill. And so for us at our company, we're looking to hire the people who do have that ability because there are some people who just have it. Like whether you're taught that or not, you just kind of have that curiosity. Like for me, I only ever took a typing class in school and taught myself all the things I know without classes because I'm curious, which is also probably a synonym for weird. But so, but we're looking to hire those kinds of people, right? So be
Yeah.
curious. The more that you can go out and learn new things and teach yourself new skills and adopt some of these AI tools and figure out how to use them, the more valuable you make yourself to the current company you're at and to any other company you'll work at in the future.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that advice, Brian. Where can listeners learn more about the work you do and also connect with you?
I think the best place is probably look me up on social media or LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn for Brian Searl. We are very much in the outdoor hospitality space for campgrounds and RV parks. So a lot of what we put out is maybe not relevant to all the businesses. But if you go to our website and read our blogs that we put out about AI and automation, that I actually have an AI agent writing my blogs every day. Uh, and you substitute the word campground for florist or lawyer or accountant or coffee shop, it really is some of the same advice.
Yeah. What's the website?
It's insiderperks.com.
Okay, I'll put the links in the description so listeners can just click and go directly to the site. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. You have a great podcast. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing this in other episodes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning into Wisdom Journey. I hope today's episode gave you practical steps and fresh ideas to keep moving forward. If you found value, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a fellow creator or entrepreneur who'd love to learn too. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and the link in the description for more resources, experiments, and lessons straight to your inbox. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep walking your own wisdom journey. Yeah.